Welcome back to Ruley's Rundowns here on All Access with the Profs. I'm Aidan Dougherty, and I'm joined by Pat Ruley, head coach of the Rowan Profs football team. And they're coming off a tough loss against the number 6 ranked Salisbury Seagulls as the game came down to the wire. It was 35-35 with 3 minutes to go, but the game really came down to who had the ball last. And unfortunately for the Profs, it was the Salisbury Seagulls. But, Coach, that's really what all the game came down to.
Yeah, we fought hard. I think at the beginning of the game they went up 13-0, and a lot of other teams, or even this team, a month or two ago, easily could have kind of folded up shop, or made it really difficult in terms of their body language to continue to fight. Not us. We ended up scoring 21 unanswered there to end the first half. They come out in the second half again and answer two unanswered touchdowns, and we come back out and respond right away and tie the game back up. And so, yeah, just really happy how our guys fought. And, that's a tremendous football team who's going to, go deep into the national playoffs this year, I believe. And, just really trying to continue to, preach to our guys being process oriented and fight in those big time games.
And a big reason you guys were able to have those unanswered points, come back down, like you mentioned, down 13-0. Then you come up, you come out with the lead at halftime. Then you go down again early in the second half. You were able to come back, tie the game at 35. And a lot of that was due to the offense having explosive plays. So what was that kind of like? And can you walk us through that last explosive play we saw from the offense where Luke Hoke caught a 30-yard touchdown pass?
Yeah, I thought we had a really good game plan offensively. Even during the week, I thought it was solid. We went out and executed at a high level. Really all three quarterbacks, but Matt Wellesley and Nate Mares, I thought they did an awesome job at getting the ball to the guys in space. And yeah, our guys played really hard in the receiver room. I mean, Mike Zarfati, Luke Hoke, Shane Martin, just to name a few, and then the running backs, with Tyshawn Bookman and Nunez doing a good job with their ball in their hands as well for the most part. And but it really was those guys, fighting for extra yards and a lot of yards after catch. And, when you look at the last play, I mean, it's a 4th and 10. We kind of knew we had an idea of where we were going to go with the football and, put it right on them. Luckily for us, the DB kind of slipped a little bit at the point of attack, and Luke got up the sideline, made a guy miss, and got in the end zone. But, tremendous ball, tremendous timing on the throw, and then putting a playmaker with the ball in his hands and let him do what he does.
Yeah, the pass game was great in this game. Obviously, 350-plus passing yards. But now you had to play in back-to-back homecoming games versus Christopher Newport on the road. Now you had to play Salisbury on the road in their homecoming game. But here we are. The Profs are able to finally have their homecoming game here in early November on the 2nd on Saturday. But it has a little bit of an extra kick to it now this year. The homecoming game against Montclair State is now going to be turning into a rivalry game, as you guys call it, the Breakfast Bowl. We're starting to see that kind of take headlines so far early in this week. Can you kind of take us through, the process of starting this, maybe your plans for the future, and how it all just came about?
Yeah, so, Mike Palazzo and I have actually known each other a long time, funny enough. The head coach at Montclair, him and I, we knew each other early in our coaching careers. He took my job at Towson when I left, the first job I had, and then from mutual kind of contacts from there, kind of had a relationship. And, even when I was interviewing for this job, he was like, hey, I got this idea for this trophy game. If you get the job, like I'd love to, talk with you more about it. And, it kind of took off. And he has a part-time assistant on his staff who works for an assemblyman up in North Jersey. And, they wrote some kind of proposal or decree or whatever you would call it. And it was supported by, a few different people in state Congress and, got on the governor's desk. And, it really is a combination of things, right? So the age-old debate amongst the people in the state of whether it's called Taylor ham or pork roll, which isn't much of a debate in my opinion. And then, from there, though, you have the more serious piece of it, which is us really trying to tackle food insecurity, around the state and have a food drive and donations that surround that, but listen, Montclair and Rowan has been a long-standing rivalry for a long time. I remember my games against them were always wars. And, really just excited to kind of add that little extra twist. There aren't any NJAC trophy games that are annually played. And for us to be a part of the first one and have this thing be something that really only gets built upon as it goes, I think that it's something that there's no doubt could catch, especially local and regional, but even national media attention. Just surrounding, not only is it a great thing in terms of what we're doing, and for a great cause. But the kind of the fun competitive twist on it is certainly something that a lot of people have opinions on as well.
Yeah, so we were able to now see, the rivalry turn into a little bit of charity as well as two teams will clash. And I saw a little bit of the picture of the trophies, so that should be fun. It looks like a pig with wings on it. So pork roll versus Taylor ham, as you said, I think there's only one way to say it. But depending on the result on Saturday, we might have to change the way we say it. But hopefully we continue calling it pork roll when the Profs possibly beat Montclair State on Saturday in their homecoming game at 2 p.m. Thank you, Pat Ruley, for joining me here on Ruley Rundown. Now over to Jordan in the studio.